Hidden cash, international buyers, a presidential farm, and a sofa stuffed with hundreds of thousands of dollars. What started as a festive Buffalo deal in December 2019 would explode into one of South Africa's most controversial criminal trials. This is the story of Phala Phala farm heist, also known as Farmgate, where over $500,000 vanished from inside a president's house, or should I say from inside his couch, and a group of unlikely suspects would find themselves at the center of this courtroom drama.
It was dubbed Farmgate, the scandal that rocked the nation and threatened to end President Cyril Ramaphosa's tenure. In 2022, ally to former President Jacob Zuma, Arthur Fraser, blew the lid off what would have been the president's best-kept secret, foreign currency stuffed in his furniture. But while the head of state emerged from the saga unscathed, the people who allegedly stole the wads of cash hidden in his couch, Emanuela David, as well as Froliana and Ndilinasho Joseph, were not so lucky.
The second accused, Froliana, was an employee in the farm, but in a temporary base. She's the one who was familiar with the farm, and then it is alleged that he infected the other accused. Okay. They're coming from Namibia, but they are citizens of South Africa. They are legally here in South Africa.
But the case has been marred by delays, the latest owing to an application brought by the legal representative of accused number 2, a heavily pregnant 32-year-old Froliana, for a 3-month postponement.
The child must be breastfed by the mother. She only relies on this particular breastfeeding. The child doesn't take any other form of food. Now the question is, how will the child survive?
The state is convinced it has a watertight case and is expected to call 23 witnesses with the hopes of securing a conviction. The Joseph siblings have been out on bail of 5,000 rand, while 41-year-old David, believed to be the mastermind of the grand theft, has been in custody since his arrest due to being considered a flight risk.
Where it states that the court will consider the relative strength of the state case against the accused on the merits of the charge, and therefore the probability of a conviction. It stands to reason that the more likely a conviction, the greater will be the temptation not to stand trial.
The trial is expected to run for 3 weeks. For Newsroom Africa on Channel 405, I'm Zoleka Kotashe in Limpopo.
After years of delay, the trial has officially begun on the 15th of September 2025 at the Moli Moli Regional Court in Limpopo, and the accused are Froliana Joseph as well as her brother, also known as David Joseph, who also goes by the name of Ndilinasho Joseph, and the third accused is Emanuela David, who has also nicknamed himself Diamond Boy.
First, before we take that break, let's talk to the trial of the 3 accused in the theft of millions of rands in foreign currency at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala Phala farm. That's in Bela Bela. It's set to start at the Morimole Regional Court today. The accused, Emanuela David and siblings Floriana and Ndilinasho Joseph, have been charged for the February 2020 break-in and theft at the farm. Our SABC News reporter Pimani Beloy is standing by for more details on this one. I mean, Pimani, this is a big talking point. It certainly is. What are we expecting today?
Good morning, Leanne, and good morning to our viewers. Leanne, we're expecting day 1 of that trial, where we expect the finality, the start of a process where people should be held accountable for that February 2020 theft at the president's farm. We do know that one of the accused, Mr. Emanuela David, was denied bail and is incarcerated at the Kgosi Mampuru prison, while the 2 siblings have been denied bail. So the Magistrate Mantata today said he wants this trial to start as early as 9 a.m. He asked officials to ensure that Mr. Emanuela David actually sleeps here in Modimolle to ensure that there are no delays in getting him here, because the two other accused will be coming in from their homes. We know that this trial was actually set to start about 2 months ago, but we learned at the time that Ms. Froliana David was actually pregnant and she was due to deliver her child at any point. So she was given time to tend to that, and today we expect that trial to start. The state has told us that they have a total of 22 state witnesses that they will be calling. We expect the first state witness to be called in today. We know that the investigating officer on the matter testified when he opposed bail against Mr. Emanuela David, and we expect him to be one of those witnesses. We don't know who else is expected to be part of this 22, but we know that all the three have denied any involvement in this, and they've maintained that when it's time to plead before this trial court, they will be pleading not guilty to all the charges. Mr. Emanuela David, who was denied bail, has been labeled one of the masterminds behind this theft. We know that there was also another man whom was sold as an illegal person in South Africa, as a Namibian national, was also part of the key planners of this. And police, during the bail application process, were very confident that he too would be apprehended alongside two others. But at this point, only 3 people are being tried. We are told Ms. Froliana David is the one who gave the other co-accused access into the farm, as at the time she worked at the farm, and that she's the one who told her brother and the others that there was money at the farm. So we expect to get clarity in terms of what actually happened on that day, who took responsibility, and also get access to their denial.
Now, they are facing charges for theft as well as housebreaking. And the third accused, Emanuela, is also facing charges of money laundering. So how did we get here? So we have to start on the 25th of December 2019, where witness 1 was brought to the stand today. Now, the court has ordered that the names not be released, so I will be referring to them as witness 1 or witness 2, however they appear in order. Now, witness 1 was an acting game manager for the Phala Phala Lodge. And when he wasn't there, then the other manager was there. So there was always sort of the senior figure who was present on the farm. And according to him, on Christmas Day 2019, a very wealthy businessman came to the farm. His name was Mr. Hazim Mustafa, and he was wanting to buy some buffalo, right? He was looking to buy 20 buffalo, priced at 400,000 Rand per buffalo. So according to witness 1, he took the businessman to I think it was Farm 6 or Section 6 of the farm, where they kept the buffalo, and he chose 17 females and 2 males, and he went and he tagged all the buffalo and the buffalo that the businessman wanted to buy. And after that, the businessman came back from where his car was, where his driver was waiting, and he had with him the cash in dollars for the amount of buffalo. Now, let's remember these buffalo were 400,000 Rand each. That's a lot of money for a buffalo, and it seems as though this businessman paid in cash. Not only did he pay in cash, he paid in dollars. And I checked the exchange rates at that time, and the amount of dollars, $580,000, works out to exactly 8 million Rand, which equates to exactly 400,000 Rand per a buffalo. So in this case, the math seems to add up. Now, this acting manager, he seemed to have a little bit of a conundrum, right? Because he didn't know what to do with this cash. He had a bag full of money. He wrote an invoice for it, or an acknowledgement that was presented in court today, a receipt of the cash, and he didn't quite know what to do with the cash. So he said that on the 25th of December, that was Christmas Day, he put it in the safe. After he placed the money in the safe, he went home to his family to celebrate Christmas. And after that, on the 26th of December, this is Boxing Day, the president stopped by the farm. He was traveling from his other farm in Mpumalanga, and he was passing by Phala Phala, and the acting farm manager told him of this money that was, received in this bag. And it was unusual because the acting farm manager, he had testified before that this money, normally it was an invoice was issued, and then a bank transfer was made. So this was the first time that such a large amount of cash had been accepted for animals on the farm. And when the president came by the next day, there was some sort of discussion that was had, and it was decided that the money would be moved from the safe, because a lot of people, according to witness one, had access to the safe because there were documents in there were other things in there that people regularly got to, so which kind of defies the point of the safe in my opinion. But anyway, according to him, there were many people who had access to the safe. So what they decided to do is on the 26th of December, they decided to stash the money in a couch. Now, they didn't decide to put it in any couch. So they have what they call the main house on the farm. That is the residence that President Cyril Ramaphosa and his family, when they come to visit, they stay there. Now, on that residence, right, there is the daughter's room, and that is one of the rooms that is used the least, and in that room is a couch. So what he decided to do was to take that $500,000, stash them in the couch in the daughter's room. He explained how he did it. He said he removed the cushions and the lining, and he stashed it all underneath. And additionally, he then went and he put 2 of the president's golf bags on top of it. I don't know why, maybe to make sure that like no one would go sit on the couch or something, but he placed 2 of the president's golf bags on top of that couch. Now, we know, according to witnesses one testimony today, that he came back on the 13th of January and he checked and the money was still there. And according to him, Cyril Ramaphosa was aware of the money being hidden in the couch. And then at the 10th of February, this is when things start to go a little bit scary, because we know then that the money would disappear. Now, according to him, on the 10th of February, he received a message, a phone call from one of the permanent housekeepers on Phala Phala. So the thing about housekeepers is going to become really important, because it seems as though the way it works is that there are 2 permanent housekeepers employed by Cyril Ramaphosa, or at least at that time, and those housekeepers would travel with him wherever he was staying and clean, for example, his Hyde Park residence or one of his other residents. And in the meantime, temporary housekeepers would be employed. And we know that the permanent housekeeper, witness 2, she arrived on the 10th of February at Phala Phala. And when she entered the house, she called witness 1, who was the acting farm manager, and said that there were signs of a break-in. He came in, he saw that the sliding doors were opened and they were usually locked from the inside. The curtains were open, that a window had been opened and that it had scratch marks, and the cameras had been moved and sort of tampered with. And the first thing he was concerned about was that the electronics had gone missing. So he went to go check on the TVs and electronics, and he saw that they were all there. And after that, he went to go and look at the couch. And that's when his worst nightmare was confirmed, and he saw that the money was gone. And according to his own witness testimony, he immediately contacted the president, and the president said that he was going to send over the head of his bodyguard to come and sort it out. And we end off with him saying that all windows and doors had been locked, and every time that he had entered that residence to check on the money, he had made sure that everything was locked. And the photos of the break-in were admitted into evidence. And then it came time for the defense cross-examination of witness 1, which I will get into now. Now, the defense lawyer started out by questioning the cash involved and the receipt, basically saying that this is the first time that such a large amount of money had been accepted for these buffalo, especially foreign currency. Isn't it a little bit odd? And as South Africans, we asked ourselves that same question. And he even questioned like whether the money should have even been accepted, right? And after that, the defense attorney moved on to other people who had access to the room. We know that it was Cyril Ramaphosa's daughter's room, and we know that the housekeepers had access, and that when the main housekeepers, the 2 that were permanently employed, by the president that traveled with him, when they did not have access to the house to get it ready for the family before they arrived, then temporary housekeepers would have access to go and do a little bit of light cleaning. And we know that there was no records kept of who entered the main house or who left the main house. And we know that we don't know if the housekeepers were aware that there was even money in the house. The defense attorney also asked witness 1 whether whenever he returned to the house, did he count the money? And witness 1 confirmed that he returned to the main house on a number of occasions where he would check on the money, he would count on the money. And then the defense lawyer went to question about where was this instruction coming with the money. I mean, you've had over $500,000 US hiding in your couch for at least a month, almost 2 months, and there was no instruction given about what would happen to the money. And at some point it was questioned about whether even the sale had gone through, or whether they were still being negotiated about whether the sale was going to happen. But for me, it is a bit odd that $580,000 US is moved from a safe, stuffed in a couch, and nothing is said about it, or no instructions are given for 2 months. Now, we know that the defense lawyer also questioned about the safe, saying on the 25th of January, the money was placed in that safe just for that one night until it was moved to the couch on the 26th. And basically, he asked who had access to the key, and the witness 1 replied, well, people who were in the office. And I think what the defense lawyer was trying to articulate was that perhaps the safe was a safer place for the money. I mean, is that not the purpose of a safe, right? But according to this witness, no, because there were multiple people who had access to the keys. Now, we spent a little bit of time about the permanent cleaners and then the temporary cleaners. And this will become important later on because we know that one of the defense witnesses was a temporary cleaner at Phala Phala during this time. And we ended off with witness 2 of the day. Now, witness 2 is one of the permanent cleaners of the house. And I must admit, SABC, I don't know what you are doing with our TV license money, but you are not buying mics, because the audio was terrible. I had to listen through the audio and I got as much as I could. So if I missed anything, comment below. But we know that witness 2 is one of the permanent cleaners, and basically she would go wherever the president would go. And we're in South Africa, so if he was in Hyde Park, she would be busy at the Hyde Park house. And we knew that he was coming on the 9th of February. She was in Johannesburg in Hyde Park, and she left on the 10th of February, and she was in Phala Phala because she was going to get the house ready for the president and his family. It seems like that was the arrangement. They go ahead, get the house ready, and according to her own words, she had breakfast that morning, she got in the golf cart, and she drove up to the main house. And when she got into the main house, she saw that something was awry. She said there was like a piece of the pillowcase on the floor where it shouldn't have been. And she thought it was weird, but then she went into the kitchen. And that's when she saw the open window at the handle was out. And she thought that was also strange. And then the third thing that she saw was strange was that the sliding doors were not locked. That's when she knew that something had gone terribly awry. And she phoned witness 1, remember that acting game farm manager, and he immediately came by to look at the electronics, make sure that the electronics were all there. She said that he went and he checked the TVs were all there. And that is when witness 1 discovered that the money was gone. Now, from the defense, it was hard to hear. But all we heard was basically that they were confirmed that there were 2 housekeepers in the house, and that she had not been working there. She had been off for Christmas, and she had resumed her work on the 27th, and she had only entered Phala Phala on the 13th of on the 10th of February, because before then she had been at the Hyde Park house. Now, court has been postponed until the 17th of September. And the state has said that they believe they have an airtight case, and they are going to present 20 witnesses. So we have done 2 today, and I will be recapping day 2, which is going to be occurring on the 17th of September. If you haven't been also following me with regards to the Tiffany Meek case, the Jane Lee Meek, Tiffany Meek case, that is also coming up soon, and I will also be posting about that. Tiffany is due in court this week, and comment below on any other cases you would like me to follow. But that is basically the TLDR of what happened in court today. And like I said, if you like my content, please consider giving me a like, a follow, as well as a subscribe, and memberships are available now, so you can support what I do for as little as 14 Rand a month.